Jill, I'm going to be a little late getting home today from work. There are a few things prepared for dinner that I've placed in the fridge and freezer for you guys. So, can you heat those things up and eat them tonight? There would be some chicken breasts already cooked up with a platter of veggies, and then in the freezer there are some cream puffs you can pull out for dessert. You're going to be late today? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Recently, a few of my coworkers have taken some time off work, so at least twice a week for a little while, I'll have to be staying late to finish up their work. But at least I'm getting paid overtime for the work, so there is something great coming for covering some of their work. Ashton, do you know how old you'll be turning this year? I'll be turning 32, but what does that have to do with anything? That's exactly right. And it has to do with everything right now. I think by this point you should be having someone else cover for that overtime so that you can be home. You have me here, and a whole lot of chores that need to be taken care of all the time that only you have the responsibility of handling. Your husband is also making money just like you, so you both don't need whatever scraps you bring in from working late. I think it's getting time you just give up on that whole job in general. My son can make sure to put in a little extra work with his job, and you won't even notice that you're not bringing in money anymore. Well, I'm not sure what'll happen in our future. There could be all kinds of emergencies that require us to have some funds saved up. And recently, we've all seen a large increase in prices across the board from things like food, appliances to gas. While I still have the time and ability to work, I'd like to use it all to save as much as possible. I promise that in the future I'll slow down and take things a bit more easily, but I'm still young and want to use my energy for my husband's and my future. You say things like that, but soon you'll be in your 40s. What are you going to do about having kids? You only have a little bit longer before you've become too old to have decent kids of your own. You wouldn't want everybody wondering why you chose to have your kids so late, would you? My husband and I are thinking about having kids, so... Is that you telling me not to talk to you about them, then? I'm talking about this now because it's been 3 years now that I've been here and haven't seen you carrying any babies. Don't tell me that you hate kids or something like that. No, that's not the reason at all. I actually really love kids a lot and want some of my own eventually. Then you should hurry up and have some kids now. If you want to have them, even having them in your 30s is a bit late. Don't make your kids suffer by having them later and making them live through their parents' deaths while they're still in high school or something. I'm sure that some might see having kids later in life as a problem, but we both are waiting for the right time, and unfortunately, we are not confident that right now is that time. You and your husband can make time to have kids right now, though. Especially since I'm here now, living with the both of you. If you're worried about having to raise them, I'm right here to give you support and caring and watching over the kids anytime you need a break. I'm sorry. I'm really thankful that you're willing to do all that for me. But my husband and I will be the ones deciding on the right time to start having kids. If I leave that choice up to you two, who knows when you guys will decide to have them? And within this whole neighborhood, I'm the only woman that doesn't have any grandkids yet. Do you even know how embarrassing that is for me? Because to me, it feels like you enjoy me being the laughingstock of this town. Embarrassing? Laughingstock? I'm sorry, but I don't think something like that should bother you. And that's because you're not close with anyone else in the neighborhood, right? When you get to my age, you'll realize that everyone is talking about their kids and grandkids in front of you. And every time I'm not able to add something to their conversations is because of you. I can tell that they all laugh behind my back about it. It's not easy for me to handle that kind of embarrassment, Ashton. Do you think you can wait a little bit longer for us? Having kids is a pretty big change in one's life. And even if we did plan to have kids right now, it can take some time to actually get pregnant, so the baby might not come as soon as you think. Ashton, could all of this mean that you are infertile? Huh? Well, I have the right to ask about that, right? Acting the way you have has made me skeptical about whether you can actually have a baby or not. So, are you infertile or not? I'm not. I'm not trying to hide anything like that from you. Have you been going to the hospital at all? You should get yourself tested for that. Jill, I never said that I'm having troubles making any babies. And I've gone in a couple times in the past few years to get checkups from a doctor, and they say I'm completely healthy. Really? I'm being serious. Well, then I have no idea then as to why you don't want to have any kids right now. I understand that back when my husband had his stroke, times were a bit tough here. But now we're all living happily together here, right? We don't have to worry about taking care of him anymore. So now we have our hands free to raise some babies. You are missing out on a really good chance right now, and that's not going to be you that missing the chance ends up hurting. Jill, I am sorry, but I have to get back to work here soon. I have a meeting to get to, and so we should wrap all of this up. You can eat what's prepared in the fridge for dinner tonight. Just make sure that my husband knows as well so that he can help you warm everything up on the grill. And just like always, you're using your job as an excuse to run away from me. It keeps you from doing your chores as well. At least start doing a bit more for this house than you have been. I'm tired of having to clean up after you because you spend too much time focusing on that job. Understood. I'll try harder from now on to put a bit more time into doing chores. I understand that you will. But I also want you to start thinking about having some kids a bit more seriously. As a wife, your #1 job is to bring kids into the family. And I know you don't want to know what happens to married women when they choose not to have any kids. Ashton, you're coming back from your business trip today, right? Yes, I am. Right now I'm on the plane, but the Wi-Fi connected so that I can talk with you. It shouldn't be more than an hour now before the plane lands and I get my bags. What time will you be arriving at the airport exactly? Well, I'm not sure now because we did take off a little bit late. Will you be able to make dinner tonight? I think that I'll be home by that time. But if not, would you be willing to cook something for my husband and yourself tonight? Maybe. Let's just hope that you do get home soon. If you cannot get here in time, then I'll be in trouble. After all, you weren't home at all yesterday, right? I had to cook then, and at my age, being around a gas stove can be very dangerous. Especially after having to do all of those chores for you while my son worked. But you're coming home today, so you'd better make me something to eat. Actually, I'm counting on it. Also, it's a bit strange to me that even though your mother-in-law is living in the house now, you still go on business trips, leaving me here all alone. I'm sorry. You're always apologizing to me about everything. Don't you ever say anything else besides sorry when someone is upset with you? I'm not doing that as a way of getting out of this, though. I say sorry because I truly am sorry for what I have to put you through. Ashton, I've said this for a long time now. Don't you think it's getting time to quit that job of yours? What kind of company is that asking a married woman to leave her home for days at a time, still to go on business trips? I think you're better off leaving a messed up company like that and coming back home full-time to take care of me and your husband. I still do not plan on leaving my place at this company. I happen to really like the work I do here, and it's something to get me out of the house and give me a chance to talk with some different people. It's just that this time's business trip just happened to be a little irregular. After this, I don't think there will be any more this year. Actually, there won't be because I was told I only have to do them a couple of times a year, and now it's been 3 times. What I'm trying to say isn't just regarding things like that business trip, though. Do you want to leave your husband behind or something? I have never thought about leaving my husband like you're suggesting. Him and I both know that I love my job, and he agrees that it's good for me to go out and work just like him while we don't have any major responsibilities at home. Well, then it's getting time for you to start having babies with him so that you do have some major responsibilities. A wife that's not willing to get pregnant for her husband is a waste. If you don't want a divorce in the near future, make sure to start getting pregnant. I do want to have kids of my own someday. But as for the 2 of us, even if we cannot have kids of our own, we aren't going to use that as a reason to get some divorce or anything. We both love each other very much, and so having kids or not isn't going to be what keeps us together or not. Even if you and my son think that, I beg to differ. And back in my day, a wife that doesn't come around to having any kids is bound to be divorced. That's how important your role as the wife is supposed to be. Why do you think I keep bringing all of this up to you? Even if you say things like that, all I'm trying to say is that my husband and I trust and love each other over things that don't involve having kids or not. This isn't about the love you both share. Getting married isn't the only thing you both have to do as a couple. I only have one son, right? If you're not willing to have any kids, then my family line will end with the both of you. But my husband told me that he has a few cousins, right? I'm talking about my immediate family. And I'm sure that the rest of the broader family would be upset with you right now for what you're doing. You're a married woman, yet you act as though you're a man working full-time and putting the chores of the house behind you. You really don't care about the house, do you? And don't tell me you do, because I already know you don't. Everyone is getting tired of you. Jill, I believe I've told you this before, but right now my husband and I are thinking about having kids. So please, stop trying to rush things for us. Well, if you don't want me rushing things for you, then hurry up and make some babies. If not, then I can see you really aren't thinking about having kids after all. All you ever do is make excuses about this and then run. I think you really don't want any kids then, right? I'm spot on with that one, aren't I? That is not at all how I feel about having kids. A useless wife like you is worthless in my family. If you want to act like that, then I'm going to have to start thinking about having you both divorced. Jill, please don't think that you have to say things like that. Well, if you don't want me talking about it, then do as you've been told. I'm tired of listening to all your poor excuses now. A wife that cannot give birth to any kids for me has no worth. I think you should be thinking a bit more about how this is affecting my son's happiness as well. It's what makes being human so amazing, is that we can look forward to passing on our genes. But if you're telling me that you don't even want to do that, then why even live anymore, Ashton? Ashton, have you finished the cleaning I asked you to do? I've cleaned both the living room and the floors all throughout the house for you. And you made sure to put down a new layer of wax on the floor, right? Yes, I've made sure to get it all evenly poured out. And right now I'm having lunch. Once I'm done taking a little break to eat, I'll go and clean out the bath as well. You really are so slow when it comes to cleaning, just like I expected. Well, whatever. Once you have all of that done, your next job will be packing all of your things up. Packing my things up? What things of mine need to be handled right now? All of your things need to be packed away. Why all of my things, though? I have all my things well kept at the moment. You know exactly why I'm asking you that. I'm having you leave this house soon. Huh? And why would I have to leave my house? Are you that slow, Ashton? I'm telling you that you're getting a divorce from my son. Actually, I have a young friend of mine, and she's in her early 20s right now. She's not even working any job right now, so she can become my son's next wife. I think she'll fit right into this family way better than you have. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm telling you that I'll have this young woman marry my son instead of you. Stop trying to make me say more than I have to say here. I don't think that my husband is going to go through with that like you think. My son will understand why he has to do this and step up to do the right thing for me. After all, I'm the one that runs this house now. You don't run this house. The only reason we even allowed you to come live with us is because you came crying to us begging to let you in. That was back when your husband had his stroke. And since you couldn't manage on your own, you came asking that we let you stay here. Even if that's the case, my son will not go against anything I ask of him. And now I'm giving him the chance to marry a much more young and cute woman. I don't think any man would pass that kind of chance up. Jill, I've talked with you plenty times now, but this time you're being a real jerk. If you really want me out of the house that badly, then I'll go. But it won't just be me leaving the house, but my husband as well. I had to do all of this because you chose not to have any kids. There's no reason to have a wife around that's not willing to have a baby at a young age. And also, it's not just me that thinks you're useless and unnecessary in this house. My husband wants you out of here as well. He told me that already.
Hey, you stop all of this right now, you. When did I ever say such a thing?
Huh? Who is that? Could this be you losing your mind now that I've told you you have to divorce my son?
This would be your husband.
Huh?
Jill, you know that I've been at the house right now, and I'm here eating the lunch that my very sweet daughter-in-law has made for me. Because she was getting message after message from you today, I asked her what you were both talking about. And that's when I learned that you're trying to have Ashton leave the house and make our son marry an even younger woman.
Huh? Is this really you, Douglas?
I already told you it's me. I was able to borrow Ashton's smartphone from her. So what the hell is going on here? Why are you acting this way towards your daughter-in-law?
It isn't that, Douglas. I just want to see her have a grandbaby for us. And so I thought I'd try and help her get to that point sooner.
You only want to see a grandbaby for your own sake, right?
That's right, but all of my friends around me have grandkids that they get to talk about. Don't you want to see our son have a baby?
If he has the baby, then I will want to see them. But having a baby is not up to Ashton. It's going to be her and our son raising the baby after all. So they get to make that choice together. We have no right to be forcing them to make one now.
But look, Ashton is always putting her job ahead of everything else.
And Ashton is also doing everything she can for her house. Today is her day off from work, and yet she's been getting at the chores ever since she got out of bed. Yet if someone like you with all that time in your hands were to step in and help, she could actually take time to rest. Why are you making Ashton do everything here?
I'm not making her do anything, though. I make sure to clean the dishes after lunch and dinner.
There is a dishwasher in this house. All you do is load it and push a button. And as I remember, it's not you that's putting all the dishes and silverware away after they're cleaned. So tell me what you actually do for this household.
I make sure to go out with people in the neighborhood. She never does any of this, so I have to make sure they know we're still around.
Going out with people in the neighborhood, huh? All you're doing is gossiping with your other friends. Jill, I've had enough of this from you. We've been warning you about putting all of this work onto Ashton on her days off, and now I can see that even after doing so, you turn around and say terrible things to her. This is all very unforgivable. If you really have such a problem with the way she manages her family and life, then maybe it's you that needs to leave this house.
Oh, wait a second. You think that I need to leave? You have to be joking, right?
I'd never joke about something as serious as this. It was when I happened to have that stroke that Ashton was kind enough to let you stay here while I was in the hospital. But if all you're going to do is pick on her after what she's done, then she has no need for a mother-in-law like you within her house.
I have not been picking on her. All I want is for her to bear a grandchild for me.
Who was it again that got so upset that her mother-in-law was bullying her right after getting married? My mom said the same thing as you, asking for you to have a baby. Yet it seems you haven't learned anything from the way she horribly treated you. Back then, you told her that you wanted to wait a little bit before having a kid, right? Well, now you're the one doing the thing you really hated about what my mom did to you right now.
Well, back then I was still young.
Yeah, you're just wanting to say that as an excuse so that you don't get blamed for being a jerk. A woman that thinks it's fine to pick on others is not needed here. Hurry up, grab your things, and get out of here.
Douglas, I'm so sorry about that. I never meant to be mean to her or anything. I've just been very worried about her and our son. I'm sure that some things I said came out a little harshly, but...
This isn't about the way you've said things. You just threatened Ashton with a divorce and told her that you'd make our son marry a younger woman. Are you not aware of just how many stupid things you've tried to pull with Ashton?
Douglas, I'm so sorry. I see now that I messed up, so please forgive me.
I'm not the one you should be apologizing to right now.
I'll apologize to Ashton for this as well.
Then, you stop playing with all your friends right now and get back here, and all the chores that are still left to do will be done by you. You had a lot of things you had to do today before going out with friends and yelling at Ashton.
Jill, how is my husband doing? Do you think he'll be able to forgive me yet? Can't you go and tell him to forgive me already? I only have you to count on now, so please help me.
I told you already to stop talking to Ashton.
Huh? Is this you, Douglas?
That's right. I told Ashton to let me know if she ever got any more texts or calls from you, and she did. You still have not come around to understanding what you've done wrong.
But not even you or our son are willing to respond to me when I try to talk to you guys. I have given so much for the two of you. I cannot believe that the two of you would kick me out of the house.
We did it because you thought it was fine to pick on your daughter-in-law, right? And when I had that stroke, the only person that gave her time to come and help me was Ashton, right? When I had to stay in the hospital for a year, you never came to see me, and only went on vacations with all your friends.
That's because Ashton was there to help, so I was able to have some time to myself. That's right. I trusted her with you. I trusted her then, so I knew she could take care of you.
I don't believe a single piece of that. Jill, you haven't learned anything from what's happened. Why is it so hard for you to apologize for everything you did and change? That one chance we gave you to apologize to Ashton, you came and had the most unapologetic look on your face while saying sorry.
That's just my normal face.
Then take that face and turn it into something more acceptable. Because right now, I don't want to see that unapologetic face you have. If you can make that happen, then maybe I'll consider letting you come back to stay with Ashton.
Huh? So, if I don't, I can't come back?
As long as Ashton is here, there's no reason for you to be around. And as for myself, if I do happen to become sick again, I plan on going into a retirement home to be cared for.
Wait, then what will happen to me?
I don't know.
You don't know? You're not being serious right now, right? Do you not care about what happens to me? Right now I'm living out of a dang hotel room. I can't stay out of a house forever. It can't happen to me.
Well, until you've actually learned to become a nice person, you'll stay out of this house.
I told you that I have learned from my mistakes and I am becoming better.
Someone that's really changed for the better would never have to tell me that.
Please, Douglas. Please do not throw me away like this. Come on. Douglas, please. Reply to me right now.
Jill, this is Ashton.
Ashton?
Since you and I are no longer living with one another anymore, I thought it would be kind of me to say my farewells. you don't have to talk to me like that, so hand me back to my husband now. It is all because of you that I've been kicked out of that house. Do you not feel any kind of remorse for what's happened to me?
Well, if you still have the energy to say things like that to me, I think you'll be alright on the streets.
I'm sorry about that, but I'm really having a hard time living like the way I am right now. My husband even canceled my credit card on me, and I don't have any cash left to use.
I have no intentions of telling your husband that what he's doing is wrong.
But if you forgive me for what's happened, then I'm sure that my husband will forgive me as well.
The reason that all of this is happening to you now is because you had it all coming. And on another note, I spoke with my husband and made a decision. We're going to be cutting all ties with you. And so because of that, I'll be blocking your phone number as well as deleting you from any of my social media apps. So although it wasn't that long or great, thank you for being there for me.
Wait, Ashton. I'm so very sorry. I promise that I'll apologize to you properly next time. I'll get on my hands and knees so that you know I'm being sincere. So please find a way to forgive me.
I'm very sorry to tell you this, but I never planned to forgive you. I have tried my hardest to forget about all the things you've said to me, but you really did scar me with all those hurtful things. You are my husband's mom, and so I wanted to find a way to make things right between us. But my husband and my father-in-law both told me that it's best to just let you go for good. So from now on, the two of us will have nothing to do with you.
Ashton, just forgive me, please. I really did say some horrible things to you, and I want you to know that I'm sorry for all of that.
No matter how hard you try and apologize to me, nothing will change. Now, I have some preparations to make before we move, so I'll be going now.
Huh? You guys are already moving out? Looking for a house should have taken you guys a lot longer than that, right?
Actually, a while back, my husband and I had been planning on moving out of the house. And because of that, we'd slowly been packing things up and getting ready. So that's why we'll be able to leave here soon.
Ashton, please! I won't ask you anymore to let me live with you guys, and I won't even force you both to see me. But can you at least tell me that you forgive me? If you don't, my husband will never let me move back home.
Why do you think I'd do something to help you? After all the horrible things you did to me, there's no way I can just easily say that I forgive you, right? And what would be in it for me if I helped you out?
This isn't about you getting anything from helping me. I'm still your mother-in-law, right? And I've apologized for pretty much everything now.
Well, listen, Jill. I don't want to sound rude by saying any of this, but there's no reason for someone like you to be a part of my family. A mother-in-law that bullies her son's wife is useless and has no worth in this house. From there, my husband and I moved out of that house and left my father-in-law to live there and moved to a new place to live on our own. Jill has been going to that house every day and will sit out front from morning until dark saying that she's sorry for what happened. There are a lot of people in the neighborhood that can see her, and to make sure that she doesn't make the rest of the family look bad, we asked Douglas to let her back in the house. Although we may have been a bit too kind to Jill, it's much better that we know where she is at all times so that she doesn't show up around us at some random time asking for forgiveness. However, only just a bit after letting her in, Douglas found a retirement home to move into and was gone the very next morning before she could talk to him and ask him to stay. And along with that, he sold the house, and Jill was forced back onto the streets where she wouldn't have any place to go for protection. She no longer has the money to afford a hotel, and so she has to sleep outdoors while she slowly begins to lose her mind. She's in her late 60s now, but at least she's still young enough where she could find a job, although she's never worked before in her life, so that might not work out too well for her. But even if it seems awful of me to say this, I think all of this is deserved by her, and so she can rot out there with nobody to care about her. Now, as for Douglas, he was lying to her when he said he moved to a retirement home and used that chance to move in with my husband and I. Now he's been living here doing chores for us while we work and never complaining about anything we do as a couple. It's been quite nice having him here to do all that for us, and I found out that he's a really good cook when it comes to using the grill. Also, just a year after moving into this new house, I found out that I'm pregnant. So because of that, I'll be leaving my job and staying at home to relax before giving birth to our first baby. And of course, I'll never let Jill meet them when they come into this world, and I'll have my father-in-law right there to help me with the recovery after. So the only ones getting to celebrate their birth will be my husband and I, along with my father-in-law. I said it before that she had left some scars, but really, I've been having a really hard time forgetting about all those terrible things Jill said to me. I may be stuck having some bad memories of her, but I'm at least happy that she'll never be around anymore to hurt me. And even better, she'll never be able to see the grandchild that she tried so hard to force me to have.
Tonight I'm going to have to stay out late for work, so don't bother cooking me anything for dinner.
Alright, then Liz and I will be the only ones eating at home tonight. Now that you're here, I wanted to mention that a package came for you in the mail. It says that it needs to go in the freezer, but what is it?
I think there's something I had ordered a long while back. I ordered up some good-looking New York strips. At the time, I'd also ordered some craft beers that should be with them as well. Have they not come yet?
Not that I've seen today.
Oh, then they should be dropped off later this evening sometime. Hopefully before 8 or 9. And make sure to be home to grab them for me as well, okay?
Well, we should be home for that, but in a little bit I'm going to have to run out and get Liz. I'll also have to shop for groceries, so if we're not home by then, you may have to wait for tomorrow for me to grab the beer. Actually, could you just have the delivery date changed to tomorrow or something for me?
Huh?
What's wrong with doing that for me? It's not like you'll be drinking them tonight, right?
Well, I was going to at least stop by the house once this afternoon, and I was hoping to grab myself one to taste before heading back out.
You'd have to drink before going back to work? That's not okay to do, Art.
What's so wrong with doing that? Being a little bit tipsy going back in is a great way to finish up my day of work.
That's not at all okay, though. You're just trying to make up an excuse for me to grab those beers tonight, right? I'm not going to listen.
No, but I've been doing so well with all my work here in this company, I think I deserve a break. I'll have you know that out of everyone in this department, I'm in the top. And I believe there's a promotion coming my way here soon.
Alright. I've heard you say that plenty of times already. But just be aware that I might not be home in time to grab those beers for you, okay? I have to leave here soon, and I'll be out of the house for a few hours, so hopefully it doesn't come during my time away.
Well, just hurry up and grab Liz and come right back. I really want to drink that beer today. Nothing's going to stop me. That's the whole reason I've been working so hard all day today.
I cannot get home any quicker than I'm already trying. I have to grab Liz, and then after that, I need to grab groceries because we're pretty much out of everything at home. I also have to swing by the city office today.
Why can't you just do all that tomorrow then? Just hurry up and come home early.
What do you keep going on about? If I do not get anything tonight from the store, then we won't have anything to eat for dinner. And if I don't go in today to the city hall, the next chance I'll get won't be for a little while.
Well, if that's the case, then you should have gone out sooner to have gotten all that done. Didn't even have to work today. You had all the time in the world to go out.
Well, I was stuck at home until noon doing a ton of chores at home. There was a lot of cleaning that needed to be done today. Just because it was my day off doesn't mean that I was just sitting around all morning. If I had the chance to go out earlier today, then I wouldn't be arguing with you about this right now. Maybe you could have asked for them to deliver those beers on a day you had off yourself?
When making the order, I assumed you always be at home to receive the item.
Well, then that's your fault for not thinking that I'd be busy myself.
You're becoming pretty useless, Kylie. Not even bothering to help me out right now. I've been looking forward to that beer all day, and now your attitude towards me has ruined everything.
Huh? Don't blame me for any of that. I've known for a while now that you like to always push all your problems onto me, but I am not as free as you think when it comes to my time. I have to balance out working, doing chores, and caring for Liz, and that's all a lot of work for me.
Not again with you acting like you're that busy.
What do you mean by acting?
You always like this when we get into arguments. Whenever you don't want to do anything for me, you make it seem like you have so many things to do that keep your hands tied up. To me, that all just sounds like poor excuses.
I'm not trying to act like I'm busy to avoid helping you. I'm actually very busy with a lot of things. Maybe if you helped out with some of the chores or with raising Liz, things would be different. I think the only reason you're saying things like that to me is because you don't understand how difficult all of this is. It seems like you're leaving me with doing almost all of the work.
Well, I have to focus on all my work, so I have no other choice.
I know for a fact that a lot of your coworkers are able to do their job and come home to do some things around the house. You saying you need to focus on work is the real poor excuse here.
Why do you know anything about how my co-workers' lives are going?
Because I'm friends with a lot of their wives and I hear about it from them.
Huh?
And a lot of those women are married to your coworkers and let me know about their lives all the time. Did you forget that I'm also aware of people around town? None of their husbands are perfect, but they at least will do some chores or go out with their kids when they have time to. For example, Jackie's husband is always doing the dishes after they all eat together. I'm jealous of her.
Jackie? Who even is that?
She would happen to be the wife of Cameron.
Oh, Cameron's wife.
Her husband is in the same department as you, right?
Oh, well, he ended up moving up in the company, so we don't see one another much now. He's a lot more time after the promotion, that's why he's able to do some work at home. But unlike him, I don't have that kind of free time on my hands.
I can understand that you probably put in a bit more effort than some others there at your work, but as a husband and father, you have other responsibilities. I'd like you to learn a thing or two about that from Jackie's husband.
I'm telling you that after the promotion he was able to focus more on his family. And right now, I'd like to receive a promotion myself, so that's why I'm putting my all into this job.
Well, next week when I'm out of town for work for 3 days, will you be okay here alone with Liz? I'm a bit worried about leaving my daughter with you for those 3 days.
You already know that things will be okay here. 3 days will be nothing for me. Don't try and treat me like I'm some brainless idiot.
Kylie, where are you right now? I am working right now, but I'll be back in town in just a little while. What's going on right now, Jackie? Liz is in trouble right now. She was just in a huge accident. Huh? What do you mean a huge accident? Are you serious? My daughter should be back home right now with my husband, though. I'm not sure about any of that, but she was in the middle of the road when all of this happened. I know that for a fact. And she was hit by a car while walking down the left lane. You have to be kidding me. The car wasn't going all that fast, but it hit her hard enough to really do some damage to her head. She was bleeding a lot and she wasn't conscious. Why did something like that happen to her? Where's my husband at? Is he not right there with her right now? It seems that she was out on the street all by herself. I didn't see her husband anywhere when the accident happened. There's no way that something like that could be possible, though. I had to go out of town for a business trip, and so I left Liz with my husband to watch over her for 3 days. He should be with her at all times, so why would he not be around right now? Why don't you try calling your husband? Do you think you can get back here any sooner? I'm already in my car and on my way now, and I'm about to try and contact him now. Try to calm yourself down on your way home. I think that she'll be okay for right now, as the EMTs have her in their care, and soon she'll be at the hospital and getting whatever she needs given to her. Are you going to the hospital with her right now? Yeah, we're almost there as we speak. Thank you so much. At least having you there with her calms me down a bit. Right now, a lot of people are doing their best to make sure that she's okay. Luckily, at the accident, there was a nurse who saw it unfold and came to help her immediately. Because of that nurse, she was able to slow down a lot of the bleeding and check to make sure nothing was too seriously wrong with Liz. A nurse? Is that the nurse from down the street a ways? That's right. But that's a few blocks down our street to her place, right? I have no idea what Liz was doing all the way out that way. I wonder if she just started to walk down the road on her way to a park or something. I don't think she'd go that far, though. I've told her many times now that going outside our yard isn't okay, so making it all the way out there is very unlikely. That makes sense. If it was around the house, I'd understand things a bit more. But going all the way out there by herself doesn't seem possible for her. I think down that way, there's one of my husband's favorite bars that he loves to go out to. Perhaps my husband brought her along with him to that bar? Are you joking? If that were the case, he would have at least noticed her leaving the bar or something, right? When my husband gets drunk, he begins to have trouble recognizing things around himself. It's even so bad that when he gets drunk, he totally forgets to check his phone and things like that. I think that he brought her along with him, and she was able to sneak out of there without him noticing. Did my daughter say anything to you? Well, she was passed out at the scene, but one moment she did come to and asked where you guys were before falling back into a haze. That was the only thing that came out of her mouth after she was hit. So she's been hit in the head that badly then. But she'll be alright, Kylie. I'm sure that she'll be waking up any minute now. When that happens, I'll make sure to ask her about what's all been going on with her and her dad. Thank you, Jackie. Hey, if this was happening to you, what would you do? What if you left your kids with your husband, and one of them got into an accident and your husband wasn't with them? Well, if that were to happen with my kids, I'd start out by probably being too pissed off to speak. And from there, things would probably get very intense when I found my husband. I'd make him pay for all that, and he'd never see my smile until he got what he deserved. That makes sense. But your husband would never do anything like that. Well, I'm getting on the highway now, so I'll be at the hospital as soon as I can. I'm sorry to have to ask you this, but please take care of Liz for me until I get there. That's not a problem at all. When you get here, send me a text and I'll come down to the lobby to get you.
Hey, why have you been trying to call me so much? If you're asking about Liz, she was outside playing a lot and is sleeping now. You're always trying to ask me about it. It's getting pretty annoying now.
Hello, Art. This is the wife of Cameron, Jackie you're speaking to. Right now, your wife is very busy with a lot of things on her plate, and so in her place, I will be talking to you. I'm sorry for calling you so many times while you were busy.
Huh? Cameron's wife? I'm so sorry, I thought you were my wife.
No worries, Art. I'm sure as her husband, you have a lot going on as well, right? I mean, during this huge emergency, you haven't once responded to her, so that must mean you have a lot going on yourself.
What do you mean by a huge emergency?
I want you to tell me what you mean by Liz being asleep after a long day of playing. Because as we speak, Liz is here with us at the hospital getting taken care of by the doctors. She was hit by a car today.
Huh? Well, Liz was?
When I was coming from my part-time job, I passed by the moment the accident unfolded. And right then we had the ambulance come and I rode with her and watched over her the whole time. I also called your wife, and she came all the way back from where she was working to be here. But for the past couple of hours, you never answered any of her calls she made to you, so you had us all very worried.
Is that what's been going on? I'm sorry for... I understand that my wife is very busy at the moment, but what is she doing exactly?
She is having your daughter's condition all explained to her by the doctors. Understand that you will not be forgiven for this.
Kylie?
What do you mean 3 days wouldn't be a problem for you? What the hell did that all exactly mean? I thought you would have been watching our daughter for me, right? Well then why did she end up on the road by herself and get hit by a car?
Even to me, this is all brand new. What happened?
There's no way you don't understand what's happened here. Just a few minutes ago, Liz came to and told me all about what had happened between the two of you.
You brought her to the bar with you so that you could do a little day drinking, and then left her without even noticing she was gone.
I did not just leave her.
But you didn't see her anymore after you started to drink, right? And she became bored after you wouldn't play with her, so she left the bar to go wander around. That's how she ended up getting hit by a car. If you would have just done your dang job as a dad and watched your daughter responsibly, then none of this would be happening. Hold on. If you hadn't had brought her to the bar in the first place, this wouldn't have happened to her.
Hold on a moment, Kylie. How badly is Liz injured right now? Is she going to be okay?
She's gone back to sleep again. But besides telling you that, I'm not saying anything else about her condition.
Why the hell not?
Because to me, you've shown that you're not fit to be her father anymore. Honestly, you're not going to be her father ever again now. You don't have the ability to be one, so forget it.
Please just tell me whether she's going to be okay or not.
Why should I?
Because I'm really worried about her.
You are worried about Liz? It was because of your lack of worry that this happened to her. This is all your fault.
I didn't think something like this would happen to her, though.
Well, to start, can you tell me exactly what was going on inside your head? I want to know everything about why you'd go drinking now, to why you lied about where Liz was at.
I just wanted to go out to my favourite bar and have a drink or two, some of my favourite cocktail. I had some free time on my hands, so I wanted to take advantage of it. But for the little bit I'd passed out at the bar, and during that time Liz must have left the place.
You had free time? How could you have had any free time when you were tasked with watching over Liz for me?
That's free time to me. She's able to play on her own now.
For any normal parent, they'd use that time to be a friend to their kid and play along with them. I'm sure that even at home, you just let Liz play by herself while you went and do your own things, right? You really are the most useless father that ever walked the earth. Even if you worked a full-time job, there's nothing else you're good for in this family. Before you start telling me about having time to day drink and pass out at bars, maybe use it to take care of your family.
I didn't mean to pass out at the bar, I just got really into those drinks. Normally I wouldn't drink as much as I did, and to be honest, I thought going out to the bar would have been nice to Liz as well. She'd be home all week. That's the whole reason I brought her along with me.
Don't try and act as though you were thinking about her. All you wanted was to get drunk earlier in the day and not have to worry about your own daughter. You didn't plan on passing out at the bar? Well, of course not, because nobody plans on that. If you had wanted to be passed out at the bar for a while, then not only would you fail as a father, but also fail at being a decent human being. Just because you didn't plan on it doesn't mean you get to be forgiven for this.
I'm sorry. I can see now that I'm not a great father. It was all my fault, but can you please forgive me for what happened today?
I already told you that you won't be forgiven.
Right now, I really regret with all my heart what has happened, and at the moment, I'm really worried about Liz. I really want to change the man I am and become someone that can help Liz. I'm telling you, I regret all of this.
Even if you do want to help her now, there's nothing that you could do for her. If you really do want to help her, then after this you'll be the one paying for both Liz's medical bills and for her child support.
Child support? Are you planning on leaving me?
Of course. I'm going to divorce you, Art. I've had enough of all of this crap you keep doing. Time after time, you've done things that have upset me, but this time is going to be the last. And as for Liz, she's better off not having a father rather than having someone as dangerous as you around her.
Look, I totally think it's okay for you to be that angry with me. After what has happened to Liz, it's only right that you're upset. But I've put a lot of thought into all this, and I want to change. Asking for a divorce is asking to have this family ripped apart.
If you really plan to change, then I'd know to forgive you. But right now, all I see is a sad excuse for a man. But you can go ahead and try to change. However, it won't have anything to do with Liz and I.
Please just give me one chance to change my ways. I promise that I'll become a caring father and husband for the both of you.
I will not give you a chance. I'm pretty sure you had plenty of chances given to you already to change into a proper husband and dad. But you threw them all away, and I ran out.
I'm sure that with how things are right now, you're not going to tell me the location of the hospital, huh? I already see that you're there with Jackie anyway. You sure you don't want me around?
I had wanted you here with me for a while now, yet you never answered or came. At this point, if you were to vanish right now, Liz and my life would not really change. Actually, if anything, us both being gone would finally give you all the time you've been wanting to focus on that job of yours. That's great for you.
Even if I have my job, not having you both around is not going to be possible for me.
Are you finally coming around to seeing how important family is?
I am. Please don't leave me.
All you're going to have left is your job, although your chances of succeeding may be in danger now.
Why'd you say that?
Did you forget that Jackie is right here with me? What has happened today will all be passed on from her to Cameron, and then I'm sure he'll let the company know about you. I'm not sure if that will have any effect on your job, but even if it's just a little, I think the company will have a worse image of you.
That's what you mean. In the end, I'm going to pretty much lose my family and job then, huh? And that means my life is over.
I believe so, Art. As for Liz and I, we don't need you in our lives. If you understand that now, you need to get lost. I understand you acting as though you've realized the importance of your family, but that just seems like a load of crap to me. After that, Liz was in no harm and was able to make a good recovery from her head injury. For the time that she was in the hospital, I did not allow my husband to come in and see her, but after a week and her being let out, I finally came around to letting him come. After seeing his daughter covered in cuts and bruises with a wrap around her head, he was crying and apologizing to the both of us, but I knew that it was all for show. Just as I said, I got my divorce from Art, and then my daughter and I left and went back to my parents' house. At the moment, I'm on leave from work and am helping my family back home with their business. And luckily, after the divorce, my ex has been keeping up with paying the child support for Liz. But there was one bit of story that I heard from Jackie a little bit after the divorce, and that's that my husband had changed after we left him. He no longer would talk to anyone and became quite a gloomy character. And because of that happening to himself, he slowly began to distance himself from work, and his image there began to slip. He may have tried to make me believe that he changed into a better person, but I no longer have the patience to love a man like him. I never did tell him this, but if he's really looking for my forgiveness, all he has to do is show me that he can become a real man.
Nikki, when are you going to get back home from shopping?
I just came out of the store a second ago. I'm going to stop by the dry cleaners now, and then I'll be on my way home. So that shouldn't take me too much longer, okay?
So you're still not on your way home yet? Don't you think that you're taking a little too long with all of that? I just asked for a few things and you told me that you'd only be getting groceries there.
I'm sorry about that, Beth. The things that you asked me to find for you at the supermarket were pretty hard for me to find. So I had to go try out another store where I was lucky enough to find what you'd asked me for.
But I'm telling you that all of that took you way too much time to do. As a wife, you need to do better at using your time in a more efficient way. It's almost been 3 hours now since you left the house. That's a huge waste of time.
Alright, I'll try better next time. I had to stop at the gas station to get more gas for the car on the way out, but I promised to be quicker about things like that.
Ah, that's right. Tomorrow morning I'll be going with some friends to the spa, so let me have the car for the day. I won't be home until later that evening, so that'll be the perfect time for you to get all my laundry done, as well as cleaning my whole room.
I'm sorry, but I have to go to the hospital tomorrow.
Are you going again for your skin or something?
Yes.
Is there even any reason for you to still be going in for that? I can tell you right now that that nasty skin of yours is never going to get any better.
But if I don't go in to see my specialist, then they're not going to continue to give me the medicine I need. And I have to stay on that medicine now since I've already been on it for a year now. But what I'm saying is that even with the medicine you're getting, your skin has still not gotten any better. If it was getting better, then I'd be fine with you going in again. But I'm saying that since it's been a long time now and nothing seemed to have changed with you, there's no need in wasting time with those doctors.
But if I don't continue to use the medicine that I'm on, my skin will go back to being even worse than it is now. It'll become way more itchy as well, and I won't be able to focus with how annoying the itchiness gets.
Even if your skin is to go back to being worse than it is now, it's not going to change the fact that you're ugly. Nobody even cares about how you look now. You're better off just letting your skin fester.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I've always been a bit too blunt with what I have to say. But your skin is all rashy and gross, right? Well, people with skin that's nasty like yours will never be able to make it as a pretty woman. So I'd say that you should quit wasting time and money trying to achieve the impossible, and put that time towards focusing on me.
Well, the reason for my skin being this way is due to a disease I have. Even if I want it to go away, the actual healing process takes a long time. And it's not likely that I'll ever get rid of it perfectly. The goal is just to try and keep the medicine in me so that it'll stop looking as raw and I can be out in the sun more.
Well, that's nothing I really care to know about. Either way, tomorrow, you going to the hospital is going to have to wait until after I'm back from the spa. If you can respect me right now, then I'll continue to allow you to be married to my son. Knowing that, you'll respect my demand, right?
Understood.
I don't even know why I'm having to talk to you about this right now. But you need to make sure to take our relationship a bit more seriously, okay? Remember that everything that has to do with me comes before anything that has to do with you. That's how things are supposed to be when your mother-in-law is living in the same house as you.
Alright, I'll make sure to be more careful from now on.
And as for that skin condition you have, that disease can't be spread to anyone else, right?
That's right. Technically, it has all to do with my own immune system, so it isn't like some virus that can be spread to anyone through water or blood.
Today, when having a look at my son's face, I noticed a spot that started to turn pretty red.
Perhaps that had something to do with the face wash he used last night not going so well for him. He told me he was trying out a new one to see if it'd work.
Well, if that's all that it is, then I'd be happy. Because of you, I have to explain all of this stuff in detail to everyone around the neighborhood. It's really such a pain for me. Always asking me what's happened to my son's wife's face all the time. That's all I ever hear from people now.
I'm sorry that you have to blame me for that.
If you feel sorry for what you're doing to me with that skin of yours, then maybe find a way to fix it. I always stay up late wondering why my son had to marry a deformed woman like you. If my husband was still alive, he'd never let my son marry a monster like you.
But from what I've heard, my father-in-law would have worried more about the person I am inside than about my looks.
Well, he was the kind of man that thought about people's hearts and judged them that way. He was even nice enough to bring that dirty dog into our house to live. That poor thing should have died out on the streets, but he made sure it had a home and family to be loved by. But just because he had such a sweet heart doesn't mean he'd be okay with a monster in the family.
Beth, I should be home sooner than later, right? I really need to get going to the dry cleaners now, so I think we should call it a day.
What? You still haven't went over there yet?
I have to drive the car, and so I can't be texting you and driving. I just plan to finish up our conversation and then head out towards the dry cleaners.
If that was the case, then you should have told me that sooner. You're not only ugly looking, but you have zero common sense. Now, hurry up and get going. Hey, ugly duckling. Where are you at right now?
Huh? Are you calling me an ugly duckling now?
Who else would I be calling that? Are there any other people on your end of the phone that are worse looking than you? So, can you tell me why you're not home right now?
I'm out right now with my husband getting something to eat.
Huh? And you just leave me here at home?
I'm sorry, but you told us that you had plans to go out shopping with your friends and that you'd be having lunch with all of them.
My friends had some things come up on their end, and so I had to come back home. And I just thought I could come home and have something to eat here. Why did you leave the house without thinking of me? If you guys had plans, you should have let me know about them first.
I'm sorry.
This isn't the kind of problem where you can just apologize your way out of. Come back home this instant.
Okay, I'll let my husband know that.
Wait, you don't have to go telling my son about this.
Huh? But it was him that drove us out to eat, so...
You let my son take his time to eat whatever he'd like while he's already out of the house. You're the only one that I'm asking to have come home.
The both of us came here in one car, so I can't just leave him here while I come back home.
I really cannot use this family's ugly duckling for anything, can I? For times like this, where you plan to go out without telling me, at least to make up some dishes in case I have to be home.
I'm sorry, I didn't think I'd need to make anything for you today, though. But if you don't mind, there's some boxes of mac and cheese in the cupboard that you can make up.
You're asking me to eat mac and cheese now? And worse than that, you want me to make it all by myself? You really are the worst wife ever.
Is that wrong of me to ask you that?
You know very well that that is wrong of you. I am fed up with you trying to make this whole situation into some kind of joke. I've had enough now. I'll call and order some delivery. From now on, though, if you're going to be going out to mess around, make sure I have a meal ready for me to eat in the fridge.
Okay.
Ever since you came into my house, my stress has been through the roof. I assumed that you living with me would make my life easier, but an ugly, no common sense, useless wife. I wonder if it's time for me to find my son a better wife to get married to.
I promise that I'll try even harder now to do what I can to make sure that you'll respect me more. So please do not say things like that about us.
Then hurry up and become a proper wife that I'll be willing to respect. You had to start at an even lower rank than most other women because of your gross sickness, so you'll have to work even harder for me. If you want me to like you, bow to me and do as I've asked. Ugly duckling, have I heard that you've become pregnant?
Huh? Why do you ask that?
Because there are some magazines in your room talking about life being pregnant.
You went into our room? I remember asking you to never go in there without our permission a while back.
You left your room's door wide open, so I walked by. I caught a glimpse of the magazines.
Is that so?
So, are you pregnant or not?
I am. I was waiting for a good time to come and tell you the news about becoming pregnant.
Is that right? But I'd like you to stop.
Huh?
What the hell would I do if you gave birth to a child that looked like you? I would never be able to love a grandchild with skin as disgusting as yours.
Beth, what are you saying right now?
I'm asking you to get rid of that child for me.
Asking something like that gives me good reason to become upset with you. I'm having my baby whether you like it or not.
But what'll happen if the baby ends up with your looks? A baby with a gross face and nasty skin is never going to be cute. No matter if they're a girl or a boy, their life will be ruined right from the start.
The chances of the baby getting the same disease as me are very low. And even with this kind of sickness, I'm completely happy with the way I've turned out. That's only because you've realized early on that you're an ugly duckling. Normal people would never be able to live happily when their skin looks like it's been burned multiple times. That's right, there will be a memorial for my husband soon, and so a lot of my family and friends will be coming. And during that time, I'll let them all have a good look at your face. You never had a wedding for us, so they all don't know quite yet the extent of how bad your skin looks. They're all going to be shocked when they see you in person. I don't care that they'll come and see me. I've been trying to hide my skin from anyone in the first place. I'm so looking forward to that memorial. When they all have a good look at you and start calling you ugly and gross, you'll understand to give up on having that baby. None of them, and I mean none of them, will think it's okay for an ugly child with the looks of you to be born. But before something like that has to happen to you, I'd rethink your stupid choice of going through with having the baby, or else you'll have to live through that hell. Ugly duckling? Where are you at right now? I don't think it's necessary for me to tell you where. Now you're going to start talking back to me again? You just got up and left in the middle of the ceremony, and now I can't find you anywhere to ask that you apologize to me. I ran off because you stood there right in front of everyone, and instead of talking about your husband's passing, you started going off about my face and skin. I don't mind that everyone can see me in the skin I have, but standing in front of them and making fun of my disease is a whole different matter. The only person that should be upset right now is me. It's because of that gross face of yours that all of my family and friends have left. It's because they all felt sick to their stomachs that they weren't even able to eat the food that had been prepared for all of them. That's what you'd like to think, right? You'd better be ready to pay for all this wasted food for me. All of this amazing food going to waste because of some ugly girl that hasn't learned her place. I can't stand having a wife like you married to my son anymore. Get out of my family. Are you sure that's okay? Having me leave your family? Of course it's okay for you to get lost. I cannot stand the look of your skin any longer. At least now that you won't be around me anymore, you can give birth to that messed up child. But just make sure you divorce my son before that happens. I'm going to find him a healthier and far more beautiful woman that he can marry in your place. Beth, you really are so much of a fool that you can't even begin to see the troubles that you're creating today. Huh? You're calling your own mother-in-law a fool just like that? I am. You are the perfect example of what an absolute dunce looks like. Why would you happen to fit the description so well, Beth? Well, that's because by kicking me out of the house, your son will be leaving as well. Neither of us will be around to care for you anymore, and you'll be on your own to make sure that you can stay happy and alive. There's no way my own son would throw me away that easily. I am the mother that raised him since birth and made him the man he's become. Even if you are his mom, you just made enemies with his wife after bullying her, and then asked that she doesn't give birth to her baby because she believes it will turn out to be a monster. Your son told me he doesn't want to be around you anymore. He said that just now. Huh? Right now my son is with you? Yes. After leaving the house when you started to make fun of me, he came chasing after me to see that I was okay. And it wasn't just him that came to see me, but also a lot of the family and friends that were inside that came out to make sure I was okay. Huh? They're all with you as well now? Right now, we've gone out to have lunch at a different location. Why? They should have all gone home and left you, right? They were all worried about me, so my husband told them where we were at. Why would they all worry about some ugly duckling? You really have no clue, do you? The only reason everyone started leaving that place was because you started to act like a monster when you kept making fun of me and my disease. It wasn't my skin or my face that put them all off. It was all due to how black and malformed your character is. There's no freaking way I'd be the one that made them all leave. They've all known about me way longer than you. Why would any of them choose to be on the side of some new wife who looks like a soggy napkin? Maybe it's because they've known you so long that they were disgusted by how you acted today. This is what happens when the person people thought they knew turns out to be a jerk and a bully. Everyone told me that it was unbelievable that someone they knew so closely would make fun of someone's sickness. So I think that most of the friends and family will no longer be talking to you.
You're lying, right?
This is not a lie at all. I think them all leaving that place without even eating a bite of the food you prepared is the perfect evidence to back up what's happened.
You tell all of my family and friends to get back here right now.
Why would I do that?
Because they all need to know the truth.
What truth?
That I was only joking about your face as a way of lifting the mood surrounding my husband's passing. Tell them all that right now.
Even if I do tell them it was just a joke, I think they'll understand how inappropriate it was. They knew that all you said was inappropriate, and that's why they left.
Are you okay with the way things are right now?
I am. Nothing is bothering me about the way things have ended up.
All right then. If the ugly duckling can tell all my family and friends that it was just a friendly joke, then I'll let you continue to be my son's wife. You told me you'd do your best to gain my respect, right?
I don't need your respect anymore, Beth. You told me to give up on having my baby. So ever since then, I've given up on worrying about what you think of me.
Then you're saying you're completely fine with getting divorced from my son?
Having you respect me or not, and the relationship I have with my husband are two completely separate things. Your son is even telling me he plans to cut all ties with you now. And soon, we'll be out of that house for you. Just think of the two of us as strangers from now, okay?
Hold it right there, you! I am not going to allow you to do that.
And so what, Beth? I couldn't care less what you think of this. We are leaving. Someone like you judging us and trying to give your opinion has nothing to do with me.
But can we at least have a chance to discuss in further detail what happens next?
We're not going to discuss anything anymore. Us choosing to leave that house has been set in stone now.
You are both living with me now, so you can't just leave without my say.
But we can, Beth. We sure as hell can. I remember just a little bit ago you saying you wanted me out of the house, right? So I'm doing just as you've asked, and I'm leaving.
That was just because you made all the family and friends leave without eating anything. I was just in a really bad mood then. Right now, I don't believe that you have to leave my house.
Whether it was just you getting upset or not at that time, that doesn't change the bigger picture. I'm not going to remain your punching bag any longer.
I'll apologize for what happened. Let's just forget about what happened today, okay?
What do you mean, what's happened this time?
I'm talking about how I made fun of you in front of everyone today. Look, I've apologized now, so you can explain to all of them what's happened, okay?
Your son and I cutting ties with you doesn't just have to do with what's happened today, though, Beth. This is all due to months and months of you being a real jerk. A monster, even. And besides, there was something I really can't forgive you for, and that's when you told me to give up on my baby. I'm the only one that knows best about my disease and what it all entails. But for some reason, you act as though you know better than me, and that's what's made me so upset now. Yet even though I'm the one that knows myself best, you came and told me that I shouldn't have a baby because of your own selfish concerns.
I'm just really worried about you guys.
Do not throw the word worried at me as though you actually cared more about me and my baby over yourself. If anything, it looked like you were having fun while harassing me.
I was not having fun back then. I was just being blunt with you about what I thought. I can't keep all my emotions in when it comes to caring about my son's wife, okay?
So you're saying I should forgive you because you're a natural bully then? If you wanted to help me by saying those things, then maybe you should have tried a little harder to understand me first before acting that way.
All right, I get it now. I was wrong about everything. I'm sorry for making fun of your gross skin. And as for your kid, I won't say anything else about them. So please stop talking about cutting ties with me. Now, please just forgive me for all of that.
I will not be forgiving you.
I just freaking apologized to you, though. Why can't you just be nice to me and just forgive what's been done?
I'm not sure if that was a real apology, and it seems to me you still haven't learned from your mistakes yet. I'm not going to be seeing you anymore after this, so there's no point in asking for my forgiveness now.
Hey, I'm trying to call my son right now, but he's not picking up the phone. And as for my family and friends, none of them will reply to me either.
That's because everyone is agreeing to block you for good. I plan to do the exact same thing as them, so I'll be going now.
Wait, I promise that I will properly apologize to you in person. Please, Nikki. Please do not throw me away like the rest of them have. My husband is long gone now, so you'll just be leaving me all on my own.
If you are regretting what's all happened now, use your time by yourself to understand that this was all due to you being a selfish prick. I don't want to deal with someone like you anymore.
I'm so sorry. I really am sorry for what I've done and have learned from it all. So I promise that I'll never ever say or do anything to hurt you ever again.
No matter what you try and make me believe, the feelings my husband and I have for you are no longer able to be changed. I think the most ugly people on this planet are those that think it's okay to make fun of other people's health issues, just like you have. You've really made a huge fool of yourself these past few months. So, now that you'll have nobody around you anymore, take that time to fix the monster you've become. After that, we finished having lunch with all the family and friends that came to support me, and then once we'd finished, I went back to my parents' house. Because I am carrying a baby now, I didn't know what Beth would do to me if I'd had gone back to her house, and so being at my parents' is the safest choice. And as for packing my things up at Beth's house, my husband and some of the family went and made sure that the move out would be smooth for me. And as they were all there packing my things up, Beth sat in the corner crying her eyes out while asking my husband to forgive her for what she'd done. Of course, my husband wasn't going to fall for any of her crap, and so he never said a word to her, and that was his last time ever seeing her before he'd left. Beth has tried time and time again to ask where we'd run off to and for the address, but everyone kept their mouths shut and never said a word to her. And luckily for that, my time being pregnant has gone uninterrupted by her, and that's been the most relaxing thing for me. I think it's amazing that her starting to bully me for the way my skin and face looked came all the way to her losing literally everyone in the family and all her friends just a few months later. Now, she may be the worst person to be around with a heart of black tar, but I am thankful that she gave birth to a generous and loving son. But besides that, there is nothing about that woman that's worth anyone being thankful for. And now that we've decided to cut ties with her, if she ever does run into us again, we'll look the other way and offer no help to her. I did hear, though, that after we had all left her, she was stuck alone in that house for quite some time. People around did say that they never managed to see her for months, but that one day she did come out, but was thin as a twig. The last thing I've heard about her since then, though, is that the following day an ambulance arrived at her house, and she was taken to a nearby hospital to never be seen again. We drove by her house once to see if she'd ever gone home, but by that point another family was in the house, and it had been remodeled to a more modern look. A little while has passed since then, and I've been fortunate enough to give a safe birth to my child, with no problems whatsoever. Not only that, but the baby came out without the disease that I carry and seems to be in 100% perfect shape. Life from now on will be tough having to both raise and educate a little person, but having my husband around me still will make my life a whole lot easier than it was back at Beth's house. Even now, I am going to continue to be thankful for all those that have stayed by my side and helped me, and I will do my best to stay happy as I carry on with my life. It's only natural that in life you'll run into a few people that want to pick on you, but it's also because of them that one's heart can become even stronger. And after dealing with Beth, I'd like to say that my heart is as strong as a lion.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.